the recording. We are here with Business While Black. I am your boy Dudley Do Right, Ellis Dudley, and this is Perry.
I
Go
am
ahead.
Perry.
You can get your own introduction.
Yeah,
And we come to you every Thursday. We try to release a new video about how we're doing in business and Business While Black. It's definitely a different, times out there, but times are kind of still the same. We're still kind of facing the same things in business as we've been facing for a while in America. So, we come together and we just share with you, stuff that we've experienced as accountants and business owners ourselves. Just to give an overview of where we're at. But Perry, give us, where you at, man, with your life, man. Where you at?
I'm Perry. I'm out of Oklahoma City, representing OU right now. So
You gotta represent
Millwood High School. So, hometown proud. So one thing about our what I want to do with this channel and with you guys, man, is just really spread the knowledge that I've learned over the years of handling and mishandling business, especially being a Black man. It's not like we do have obstacles, but it's the way we overcome them obstacles. And I've been through so much that I just think that I have enough knowledge to share that with y'all. And I mean, either way, you can or don't have to take my advice, but it is, is your prerogative. Do what
exactly.
you
And I think I think that you hitting it on the head. Like we come, talk about every week is that, that financial illiteracy is like big, and like to be here to, study at a level to where people don't normally study. And it's not even like a white or Black thing. The ignorance spreads, among different cultures,
deep in the culture,
and
really
it's deep. Yeah, it's deep. Yeah, it is, and it's ingrown. It's in the culture of people.
When I think of people that don't have knowledge of financial literacy, every now and then there is a kid that breaks free of that mold, and that's because they get around other like-minded or kids that have that I guess knowledge, or their parents have that their
Or
friends
that exposure. You can say exposure in a way, right?
yeah,
They're exposing, because me, certain, I was born and raised in Roseland and the project. In our last video, we talked, I was in the actual block that I grew up on. I was born and raised in a really illiterate place where nobody really did anything with their money, or they didn't even have any money. They didn't, know what a business was, or an asset or a liability. And it was up to me to be exposed to different, Black intelligent men that I wanted to aspire to be like, growing up, and it took that to kind of change. Okay, I see my family being impoverished. What am I doing? What are we doing wrong? That's like keeping us here. And what can I do in my lifetime to change that for myself first? In my situation, you first have to take care of yourself first. And then what can I do for my family to get them out of that? So it was a fight and battle for me to come up out of all of that, to realize what I need to do, but then come back into, around our people and family and stuff like that, and having a, fight with the mother of my kids and stuff like that, and it's a discouraging thing. It's very discouraging, to come this far and to get the good grades and get the good job with the good salary, own the business, and still have to deal with being at war with our own women. And that's something I kind of wanted to like dig deep and talk about today. I know you had your thing about Black owned businesses. We're going to get to that too. It's important that we know where to invest our money, right? We want to know where to put our money, with our people that is going to lend to us to start our own businesses, to start, acquiring properties. There's not a lot of Black banks out there, but if we don't know about it, we don't know about it. So we're going to share that. So I'm gonna pull up this YouTube video, Perry. I don't know if you ready to share your screen on what you have for the Black owned businesses, or you can just talk about them. I don't know, whatever's comfortable for you.
Yeah, I could talk about them. I can share my screen too. Fortunately, I took Pornhub down before I started, so that won't be.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta,
But I found a page. So just being in Oklahoma, I looked up black-owned banks in Oklahoma, and currently there are no black-owned banks in Oklahoma. So except if you bank online with One United Bank, and that's the one that we talked about just briefly before me and you. So and that is a major problem. But here's one thing that I see from anyone that's in Oklahoma or area that don't have black-owned banks, or you can't. So the situation is have a long-standing history with your bank, and that's very important. But then also when you're buying a home or you're getting a bank loan, you got to understand you have to have that capital in there. And it's not even that these banks don't trust us. They just want to see the capital.
Yeah, you
They
gotta
want
have 2 months. Yeah, they want to see 2 months of bank statements. So anybody looking for a house out there, they want to see 2 months of bank statements. If you get an FHA loan at 3.5%, down payment.
Yeah, they want to see. And and honestly, it's not that hard. And the one thing that I learned by basically coming from like, I didn't learn from my parents how to do banking, I learned the hard way on doing banking, which was seeing my account go negative and getting charged $22 for going 50 cents over and stuff like that, and how to manage your bank.
Yeah, the
And
$35 insufficient funds charge.
learn those pretty easy,
Pretty fun, yeah.
And also, you even by then, from even learning about my credit, I learned by just going into the banks, and I talked to the people, and some of them, you got to understand, these people, they only want to work with people that they can get approved. So if they can get you, if you're close to being approved, they'll tell you, hey, well, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. But they won't give you the actual, if
The
you're
gist
far
of it.
from
Yeah, because they're people
they're
too.
gonna touch you.
And
They
because you
want
think about banks are just like a McDonald's. Banks are literally just like a McDonald's. It's a system where ignorant people can come and work in, and if they follow these rules and these guidelines and procedures, they can run a bank. The bank is nothing, but institution, that provides a service. So you got people in there who aren't, as educated. They probably have some ulterior motives, and if they see a person of value come in, they're going to treat that person they see, of value better than the person they see who doesn't have value, and that's just my experience, like, walking into banks myself, me, having money and being next to a white man who, I guess looked like he had money as well, and me being treated totally different, inside the bank arena. But I think it's important that we know that banks are out there. But here's the thing: a lot of black people don't keep their money in banks, Perry. I see a lot of Western Unions, which I got really excited about, because when I moved back from college, I moved back up to Oak Park, Chicago west suburbs. It's kind of like Chicago, but west suburbs, whatever. But there's nobody really used the banks. They always lined up at the currency exchange and Western Union banks or whatever. And I'm like, man, I could make some money off of these fees because everybody don't have a bank account. They could bring their checks here and they cash them. So they're paying somebody to get their money, like in cash. So it's a messed up thing that I've seen. That a lot of people are being used. It's not a lot of good banks in some of our neighborhoods. And that's
I'm looking at Illinois. You guys have some like Liberty Bank, GN Bank. That's also. I'm gonna throw this in the description.
Mm-hmm.
The blackoutcoalition.org, and you can. I'll throw the whole link in the description. Basically, that's where you can go and find out if there's a black bank in your area. And there's not really many west of the Mississippi, but there are some. They're pretty much scattered around, and we do have credit unions.
Yeah,
but that's mostly in the South and the East, and I think there are a few scattered around Illinois and Michigan.
But exactly, that's a great thing. That like that's why I'm ecstatic to hear that there are black owned credit unions, black owned banks. But are black people interested in using them? We have a lot of vehicles that are out here for us to use, but are they interested in using them, or are they exposed to using them? I wasn't exposed to using these instruments.
If we take our money out of these regular banks and put them into these black banks, so say if we have only online banking here at that one United, right? So if all the black people in Oklahoma was like, look, I'll take my money out of here, not all of it, but because you still got some. But if a majority of the people said, look, let's take all of our money, we'll take all our money out of these banks and put it in your bank for a branch location. That's going to open up money for that bank to start giving out the loans for the businesses, start giving out the loans for the homes. They probably don't even touch home loans in Oklahoma because there's not enough funds coming from Oklahoma to
back the loans.
Because I'm pretty sure they keep stuff separate, but maybe
Hell
not
yeah.
nationwide. It's easier to do it, but if you want to open up a location and you want that type of stuff, we all have to come in together and be like, okay, let's come in together. We have a group of 1,000 people that'll change over their banks, that they're depositing in $500 every 2 weeks from their paychecks or whatever. That paycheck money is what banks give out loans for homes. Like they give loans on the money that's in the bank, and they actually have credits for. Man, it's a big story. It's
exactly,
a lot.
And as a high level, looking at a bank at a high level, they do give out money on the loans. Like if you go to a bank and you want to get a personal loan for 50 grand, they're going to give you that money if you got the debt to income ratio and your credit qualifies. They're going to give you that money at a high interest rate, and that's how they make money. They make money by giving money to people to borrow. But now here's the reality, Perry. I hear you. It's good that and this has been like this is a talk for years in the 70s, like when we're coming out of the civil rights era. Let's put our money together and do this, and let's put our money. And they tried it. I was in a couple of trade schools and organizations for African American studies and stuff like that. They did it, but we're
together. I'm saying, if we say we're going to stop using these
yeah, but here's the thing, there's a financial literacy piece to the point of once we get there, what the hell are we going to do with it? The reasons why these white banks work is because they have people that come and borrow the money and put it in a cash flowing asset that produces money from Negroes, other people. I put that in there, but it produces money from the ignorant people to feed into the asset. It pays the bank and it pays the borrower. So the lender gets paid and the borrower gets paid. We're dealing with financial literacy from the consumer lens. Like we're the consumer as a people. So how do we change the mindset of financial literacy to even think about the banks? Yes, it's nice to put all our banks in our own name and have black owned banks. Yes, it's nice to do that, but are we teaching our kids about borrowing, using credit and assets, and putting your money in assets and having those who are and that's what capitalism is. Those who are who is ignorant, meaning not knowing, they produce the cash flow.
They'll find out one way or another.
So
but how they're gonna find out is where you're gonna find out by to this other bank, and you basically a bank that will not give you a loan. I don't know anybody that has went to TFCU or went to Arvis or Chase and purchased a house. Matter of fact, I'm not even in that. None of my friends are in that bracket. I see a lot of people going to Old Republic, all these other places getting financed for homes. So it's not even them. It's like U.S. banking mortgage, which is a online. It's not. There's no U.S. bank in Oklahoma So pretty much it's online. Everybody's going to use them. They're not using these branched banks. And the reason is because those, I mean, in some form or another, that those companies got enough capital to start handing out these loans, and they are, unless people are defaulting on them, so they're actually able to offer more. And I believe that this one nation, what's it called? Well, shoot, I clicked off of it. One United Bank. If they had the capital, and I'm sure we have enough people that has invested in these banks, that if they have enough capital, they're able to do the same things. We just have to say, we just have to stop our realtor. Hey, don't go use this bank. I need you to see if you can get me from One United. I don't want to have to go to Old Republic or U.S. Home Bank and Mortgage.
I mean, it's just literally like knowing that One United provides lending services for real estate. You know what I'm saying? And then funneling our people in that direction, because that's the white people don't say, "Hey, all white people come together. Let's go to this lender." They just naturally have the system together to where they're okay. If you need a home, this is where you go. This is where, for us, it's kind of like we need to establish like our own brands, our own way of doing things. Just like right now, like with the, I'm gonna be short about this, but entertainment industry, people are getting on YouTube creating black entertainment shows for black people. And it needs to be like that way. It's like we talk about a lot, is a culture. It needs to be a culture around it. So we can know like, hey, this is how we do things. Our kids grow up knowing where the money goes, knowing what companies to spend their money with. It's a brand recognition thing, and it's also a culture. So characteristic type of thing. Opening up a bunch of branches, I mean, it's cool. You got a lot of overhead there, a lot of brick and mortar. But to actually have the activity in the bank, we want activity. We want people borrowing money. We want people investing money back into the bank.
I'm gonna see what it's gonna take for me to. I'm gonna go through the process and see what it takes to refinance through One United.
Refinance your home?
Yeah, I'm gonna see.
I think it's you gotta have good credit. It's kind of like just applying for a new loan. This is what I hear. It's like applying for a new loan. Say if you're applying for your house is worth $100,000, you're able to borrow against that 80% of that. So you're able to pull out $80,000, and then you have a new mortgage. And then whatever you use from that $80,000, you get to pay down whatever debts you have from your old mortgage. Hopefully you pay it off. Now you have a new interest rate with a new mortgage on 80 grand with still 20% equity in the house.
And still having to pay closing costs and stuff too. So
yeah, that's when you have like a realtor. But some people, if you're doing it like seller financing, you and the seller, like you don't really have to deal with a realtor or anything like that. You just need a title company, that transfers the assets between two entities.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna see what's up on that. So
yeah,
let's go.
But the thing is, you got to do the title check and stuff by yourself, the title search, and all that stuff you have to do by yourself. But again, the realtor just finds a house and sells the house.
Check that out. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out, man. I love real estate, man. I love real estate.
I'm not gonna push it to our viewers and then be like, might as well be a guinea pig. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, our viewers are gonna be our viewers, man. I'm not, I'm just, I come from a place to where I tell what I know. I don't try to bullshit you. I don't try to, make up anything or try to sound like I'm smart. I tell you what I know, what I'm passionate about. So, with that being said, I think banks are good, investment vehicle to use to kind of hold money short term. But for the long term, think about some bigger investment vehicles, But again, that's the culture around people. People listening to this podcast, are going to want to do things differently. What is it like being a black man in business? What is it truly like being a black man in business? So just for me, but personally speaking from my experience being a black man in business, I've been quite successful, but still I have to fight with, our women. you know, and I feel like that's a thing that we constantly struggle with, and it's something that's really just like left alone and not really dealt with. It's kind of like how we're feeling as black men. So I came across a YouTube video where this girl is like literally saying what I'm thinking as a black man. It's like hearing it from the horse's mouth type of thing. So I kind of wanted to share that on here with you guys. But you got something to say?
Well, let's hear it first, then we'll do a deep dive on it.
Deep dive on it. Deep dive. Okay. Let me share this with you guys.
And we do not own the rights to this content.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really like it's not really nothing like copyright or anything. It's just sharing the message. We just want to share this message here. You guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
All right.
And queens, I really want to give a huge shout out to all of the beautiful women out there who actually feel what I'm saying. You know, that they actually take heed to what I'm saying and appreciate it.
Wake up.
And not just want to go out and verbally attack me and make it seem like I'm just this weak ass, pick me ass bitch who just wants a man to bow down. You know, y'all already know where I'm coming from. I'm about balance. I'm about speaking truth to power. I'm about making sure that women are taking accountability as well, because I feel like if we did that, ladies, whoo, our households would be intact. Our relationships would be intact. Our marriages would be intact, because our men would appreciate us a lot more and not feel like they have to always be in this war with us. We are at war with our men, and it's a problem. And a lot of times we are creating our own wars. But first, you guys, ladies, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we have to attack and defeat and come out on top with the war that we are waging within ourselves. We are at war within ourselves, and it's coming out within our relationships. And until we get ourselves in order, nothing around us will ever be in order. Nothing around us will ever be intact. Everything will always be chaotic and in chaos and destruction until we get our internal selves in alignment. Y'all like when we say things like make sure that your vibe is right, make sure that you are in alignment, make sure that your energy is positive, or at least make sure that your energy is balanced.
So that's it. I kind of wanted to share that with you. I didn't want to really share the whole thing. It's like an hour long. But this girl was pretty much going ham, man.
Go back to the conversation. Go back to the comments.
Okay, let me give my comment first before we go back to the comments. But yeah, basically, this girl was laying it out, man. There's a lot of shit that's going on between the black man and the black woman. We got to deal with so much shit in this world already, and there's so much chaos. And then when we try to build something on our own, which is kind of the case, you know, we got a lot of black, you know, women programs out there supporting black women. And then you got a couple of black, you know, male, you know, mentor type of things that's helping black men. But there's nothing like together, really, you know? There's nothing together to like really mold and like blend. Like, I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this.
Shut up, phone.
Do you think it's just with the black woman? Because it could be with women in general speaking. Because like, man, listen, like, it
could be.
By the way this generation is set up, and there's a lot of mixed relationships. But we're gonna talk. I want to push both in there, because it's women in general that these women aren't. Not these women, just there are women who don't fully support the business aspect of whatever this man is doing. As long as he's doing something that's positive, where's their push behind it that's going to push it forward and make them, because like, honestly.
There's an ignorance there. There's a huge ignorance there.
If a man, huge ignorance. There's a difference between a man providing for his family and the relationship that he has in his family. Because if the relationship is bad, it's going to sour the business relationship. It's going to sour the work environment. People that's either going to work or working their own business. If I have my own business and I have a bad relationship, that's going to reflect into my business. And if regardless, there may be different situations, different strokes, different folks, but is it literally just Black women, or is it all women, or is it all?
No, I think coming from a man's standpoint, women have definitely take things more emotionally than men do. Men take emotionally different. We are vulnerable, and we don't want to show that we can be vulnerable and emotional. I have a problem with that myself. Just being transparent. So emotionally across the globe, I don't think there's a difference between like the women. It's just the shit that they're dealing with is quite different.
Yeah.
A marriage in India is quite stressful as well, because they're forced into marriage and they have their situations. And then you have China, and they have their marriage situations and stuff like that. But none of them are surrounded. Well, all of them are surrounded by culture. This is the way that we do things. This is the way that we do things. This is how we hold. Being that we're talking about business, Black men and Black women. If we talking about Black men and Black women, there's no like culture surrounding what we need to do to get up out of it. So it's kind of like we need to. You just like, I'm gonna do it by myself. And the majority of the time is we end up loving our women, giving our vulnerability to our women, having kids with that woman. That woman takes the kids and demands child support and uses the system against him, and then blames him and said, "Oh, well, you're being a deadbeat dad." From a man's perspective. And then from the woman's perspective, I didn't like opened up and I gave all this to you, and now you don't, want to, provide for me. And it's just we focus on relationships and how they're broken all the time. Like, that's all you see on Facebook is just relationship. Black people talking about relationship. There's nothing about, I'm gonna support you and build your business up. I'm gonna share your post about your business. I'm gonna get on Facebook Live and talk about my brother's business because I love him. I want him to be better. But go ahead, Perry.
I do see a lot of single women, ironically, talking about women supporting their man's business more, or supporting a Black man, but you're a single woman. So where's that support when it's in the relationship, regardless of, I guess if you come into a relationship,
it's a power struggle.
Yeah, if you come into a relationship with a woman and it's based on business, then there can be the support there. But if this is a long-standing relationship and there's been some ups and downs, and then, for instance, I have a brother that has a business, and this coronavirus kind of put him on the fence, and and also put their marriage on the fence. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, like, why should that be something that's why should that your relationship be? I don't say with a relationship based on the business, but it seems once that business is failing and he's probably stressed and she's stressed because he's not doing what she wants, and this is going, so it just.
Because they don't have a freaking vision together. They don't operate as a unit. They operate separately. When you operate as a unit, it's not a power structure. It's I'm gonna use my attributes that are good. We're gonna use your attributes that are good. We're gonna put those together. Those that are weak and I'm lacking, you're gonna pick up after that. Something that's weak and lacking in you, I'm gonna pick up after that. And we're gonna approach this life as a unit, as one. That's the way it's supposed to be. And when you don't look at it like that and you think, well, he's not doing it for me, you have a whole culture of our women who just don't know. They're ignorant to the fact of the man is the salvation. Like, what army of men are you? What army are you going to have to fight for you?
I know a gyro place that I love in Oklahoma City. And I go, and it's always a husband and wife, no other people, no kids, anything. Been doing it for years. But I bet he calls her bitch 100 times a day. But you know what? They still together, working that food. She working the register. I bet she doing all the bank. I bet he just go pick up the food, cook it, and get it. But however it goes, however the relationship is, at the end of the day, that business is still going. That business is still chopping.
Exactly. And just look at it like this. It's like you tell your wife, or your wife tells you, you want the world, don't you? Like, let's get the world, and then you do whatever you want in this world, and let's do it together. And that's kind of like how I've seen some white people, do it. Even just like with like open relationships or whatever they feel, they're able to be like, hey, we're doing this together. All the bullshit aside, if we're 55 right now, you see a hot little young chick and you want to go get your rocks off, go ahead, just come back and, strap up with the team. Go get your, have your little playtime, and they understand. Then they come back and strap up with the team. Like, people know that it's a culture. It's a culture behind, entanglement, but this shit's been going on for years. There's no freaking thing behind, like, this stuff. If we got a game and a vision, we gonna get to it.
I heard one thing today, basically saying that, where is the strength in your relationship? If your relationship isn't based on strength and you give it up after, one situation, then that probably isn't the best. That probably was never the best situation for you anyway, because somebody that truly loves you, will overlook some of the small stuff for the bigger picture of the family. Like, just like saying,
I hear you.
They shouldn't stop you. Like, a woman shouldn't stop you from getting your business. But if she loves you as much as she says she does, she'll never stop, and she'll never get in the way and downplay you, or get on your nerves, or stop you from going to work, or any of that, because she understands the main focus of the business is to grow. The business is to be successful, regardless of whatever she got going on, whatever y'all got going on as a unit.
Yep.
She should still, or he should still, whichever way the system falls as far as supporting each other in a partnership in business. In business, you must support that person, because if you down that play that person all day, and they have to go to work, and then they cussing out their employees because they got some shit on their mind from earlier today, when the wife cussed him out early in the morning before he got on his job. And that could be stressful on the business. Then he got to go back home to it. So what he do? He stop and go have a drink. Then he get cussed at.
So what I'm getting is, don't fall in the fucking trap. If you see a crazy woman, a man should not allow a woman like that to be in his house. Yeah. You hear me? So stop it. At the beginning, like, if she keeps doing it, she's not the right person she's not doing anything. She's staying put. She's on the plantation still, is like what I like to say. So you need to leave that vagina or whatever. Let me finish this, Paris, though. I want to finish this. You want to leave that vagina, and you want to kind of do that, do what makes you happy, but still build yourself as a man. But don't get caught up in these things where you're excusing her bad attitude and her bad behavior, because it's going to become a snowball, and then you're going to have kids with her, and then you can't get rid of it.
Done.
So this is what men are running away from. Men are not running away from being a father. We want to be fathers. We're running away from crazy women who want to control us and tell us when and what time we can see our kids.
2 times crazy.
So, check it at the door. And if a woman doesn't understand you checking her, then she has a big mama syndrome. She's not ready. But it's so big, it's so massive. The arena of, our women as black women, they are, we are brainwashed as black men. They're brainwashed as black women. And we don't really know how to deal with each other, besides having good fucking sex or, dancing with some good music. We really don't know how to communicate with each other on a good, scale. So
Well,
that's kind of like my take on it. Go ahead.
You got to start the communication. Like, if a man to communicate good, he has to communicate good with his mother. He has to communicate good with his father, his sisters and brothers. So does a woman. If a woman doesn't have a man in the house, how does she learn to communicate when every time she hear her daddy talking about a man, it's fuck this nigga, blah, 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 you know? And that's not good communication with your daughter, because, you know, inadvertently she's catching this stuff in her head and being like, oh, okay, man, if he just start tripping, I'm going to just say, bam, bam, bam. And that's it, you know. You got to stop that right there. You got to stop.
You stop it, but like it's in the control, and sadly to say, majority of control of the black movement and the black power is the control of our women. The white man controls our women and therefore controls us.
Shit.
It's pretty much what it is. They have a hold, the women have a hold on our children, which make us do what they want us to do. Then the white man houses them, provides housing, and tells the women where to live. So when the women go to live in these projects, you're populating these areas that are reserved, to be gentrified. The capital structure is already there. They didn't came and they had the white flight, but then they, put these black baby mamas here, put them in the school system and stuff like that. Have them work at the good Walmart and, send their kids to daycare and be, taught by some Spanish, people. And I got nothing wrong with Spanish people, but if, you got all Spanish teachers in a black neighborhood, there's something wrong.
I know here's another thing about being on child support and stuff. So, one day randomly, what I'm saying, my daughter's mama sent me a text. Oh, and you ain't reporting your side business to child
support. Emotional imbalance, but go ahead.
Why, if I'm trying to start a business, first of all, she's total lie. She don't know what she's talking about. But first of all, her deal was to get the money from my business for child support, not he's trying to create this business, create wealth for my child. Let me get this now. Maybe it'll destroy his business and destroy him.
Yeah.
And that's what I got from that. And that
that comes from a position to where she feels a certain type of way, right? And she has power. It's kind of like a sort of our internal racism within our own race. It's like something that the races outside of our race could do to us. We completely innocent, but for us as black men, it's something that our women do to us all the time. And they corner us.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, how do we open up and be genuine and, tell you everything? If you use it against us, if we open up our heart to you, if we want to leave, then you got some vindictive women out there who said, I'm going to fuck up your life. I've been there.
Have a woman ever told you, you can never deal with a strong black woman like me? I've heard that several times. Like, what? Like,
no, usually the women I meet, I'm an arrogant asshole. The women I meet are not really like on my level, and I noticed that up front, and they noticed that up front. It's just a manipulation, it's just crazy within our so-called culture.
I heard that, and I just thought, like, man, maybe, at that same point, man, trust me, man, and a strong black woman is not nothing that that I don't think a lot of men are afraid of a strong black woman, and that's what I don't get. I mean, I understand the concept of it, but then you being a strong black woman is you putting your foot down when he wants to go out or something like that. That's
not a strong black woman is, coming in the door and you talking about, hey, I seen this business on, TV, and I want to start this business. And, I've been talking to this real estate broker today, and he gave me a bunch of quotes on these different properties. I know you've been looking at property. That's sexy as shit.
Yeah.
That's a strong black woman. That's a strong woman.
Where they at?
This whole thing about talking about relationships is kind of like not pissing me off in a way. It's just like when I went to Africa and I looked back and I looked I got open my laptop and I looked at Facebook and I spent, a couple months in Africa. So I was able to kind of disconnect from, everything here. And I noticed that everything that we do as Black people is on Facebook. Everything that we do as Black people is dramatic and is on Facebook, on social media. Everything that we show, we face, and everything that we talk about and face is about our relationships. About he ain't shit, he ain't blah, blah, blah. And the cycle continues. So when you wake the fuck up and figure out, none of us are the oppressors. We're not the oppressors. We're being controlled. Then we need to do about it. I thought I had a good grasp, and I'm an intelligent Black brother. And, I have 3 kids. I thought I had a good grasp on my baby mama. I thought I had a good grasp of telling her exactly what I'm telling you guys on what's going on in the world and how we need to combat it together. So our kids don't end up in the same situation.
Oh, goddamn.
You old, man. But yeah, that's all I want to say. I go ahead and get it's the last few words. I'm going to wrap up here.
I don't think we can mold certain women. There's certain women that have no business acquisition in their life, in their bones, in their mind. So it's not like we can do this with every woman. And that's one thing that we got to understand, especially being an entrepreneur. If you're going to be with a woman and you're going to marry her and you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to make sure that she has that bone in her body, or she won't even be the person that's going to be the support or is going to be the one. Say you get sick, is she going to take over? Is she going to have the mind frame to understand what's going on? Is she going to want to start learning the business as it's growing? And
is she moving in the path that you're thinking? As progress grows on, is she moving with you?
Yeah, she don't have to.
Is she moving in your vision?
Yeah, she don't have to learn it, but knowing everything. But if she step up to the plate, then that's there you go.
Yeah, as your vision grows, make sure her vision is going with yours, and that's red flags. I mean, like a lot of brothers we get suckered up into. Black women have some good vagina, man, and I'm gonna give it to you. I'm getting you straight. I mean, a lot of people get stuck up and they'll deal with a bad attitude, or emotionally challenged woman over some good pussy, and we need to stop being trapped by the pussy. Women are different creatures, but again, like you have to start building yourself up to the way. And I know we are dealing with a lot of things as Black men that a lot of people don't talk about, and we know your struggles. It's just important that you build up yourself and your structure the best way you can. But that's the only thing that we can do in this life is to live it the best that we can, And I'm here to share what I know with you guys. I only share what I know and what I've experienced and where I'm going, with you guys. So if it can be of help, again, like I definitely want to get on here next week. I'm excited about our Business While Black. It's really dedicated, to the Black man, in business. A lot of things out there is dedicated to a lot of other things, but it's not a special place for us Black men as we grow and develop and move throughout this world. Perry, you got anything to say?
Check us out every Thursday, Business While Black. We'll be updating the name soon. So, but if you connected to us, you'll stay connected to us. Because right now it's Business While Black, starring Perry and we're gonna change it to Perry and Ellis Presents because we present it to you.
It's like the Perry Ellis thing. I mean, it's good that you guys see us starting off. You guys see us, in the beginning stages of everything, knowing that we started from A. And the best thing about it is to start. And it's good that we started and we ventured into it. But all right, guys, I'll see you guys next week on another Business While Black. All right, guys. Peace. But I think